What's going on, guilty guys and gals? We're back. Back in action, as they would say. So yeah, I don't think you can save during the trials. I didn't find any way to, anyway. So I'm replayed up to this point, and now we're here. It's about Kyoka, the reason why we think she was killed in the laundry room, I think. Something like that. This one. Why she went there, yeah. I knew it was the note, because I just watched back the last parts of the last episode to get my voices back. So I was like, I'm pretty sure, but yeah.
Everyone, can you look at this for a second?
What's that?
I found this on Kyoka's body. It looks like a scrap of paper from the notepad Kyoka gave us. Kyoka was holding it tight in her hand. Would you like me to read what it says? Ome to the laundry room at 6. Any cam. Be waiting. It's all raggy and torn.
Raggy? You think you mean ragged.
Take a closer look. It clearly mentions that place in the parts that we can read.
I see. The laundry room.
Moreover, the words that really matter are still intact despite the missing parts. From the parts that are left, I think the full message was, so come to the laundry room at 6. There aren't any cameras there. I'll be waiting. Something like that.
That was so sick, Tsurugi. You completed the note just from its parts.
It's just speculation. I can't assure that it's completely identical to the original sentence, but it should be the same idea overall.
Is it ripped because the culprit tried to pull it out by force? I believe so. Maybe the culprit wasn't able to remove the whole paper from Miss Maki's hand due to rigor mortis.
That means Kyoka got that note from someone and went to the laundry room at the designated time without knowing what was about to happen.
Shoot! Why would anyone use those kinds of cheap tricks?
Huh? Satsuki's confused on the part that says there aren't any cameras.
Perhaps it was intended to make the note look like some sort of secret talk?
Nope. That's not what Satsuki meant. Are there really no cameras in the laundry room?
There is.
Whoa, what a surprise. You can talk.
Between the ventilator and the clothesline.
Yes, I saw it too. The culprit just wrote down something meaningless as bait.
Kyoka, just why?
I apologize for the untimely interruption, but may I speak for the moment?
Kinji, what is it?
Kyoka was murdered in the laundry room. Although we can now be certain about this statement, is it not too early to conclude that a man could be the culprit as well?
Huh?
Well, it is possible for a man to commit murder in the laundry room and carry the body to the restroom. Recall the fact that Kyoka was not merely lying on the restroom floor. She was hanged by a rope attached to the ceiling. Have we forgotten this already?
Oh, you're right. The murder could be done somewhere else, but you'd have to enter the restroom to connect a rope to the ceiling.
What is those eyes? They look. I don't like them. Okay.
So the culprit really is a girl then?
What? Are we back to where we started? Seriously, guys, you want to think the culprit is a girl that badly?
No, but Kinji isn't wrong. It's impossible to tie a rope to a pipe inside the restroom unless you're inside as well.
See, the killer is one of them girls.
Wait, it's still too early to make that conclusion. Can there be a way to hang the body from the outside?
If Kinji is right, the killer cannot be a guy. But if there's a way to refute that logic, I have to come up with that, even if the chances are less than 1%. This isn't a drill.
No, this is.
Anyway.
A single mistake could kill all of us. If we put our heads together, we'll be able to find the answer.
Oh, here we go. We're spinning. For some reason, this is still taking a long time. I tried to close a bunch of programs on my computer. I don't know. It's probably just the build I have. So when we move on to the other chapters, hopefully that'll fix it. But I think I'm probably just going to cut some of these parts out. Kanata's account, bloodstain near body, hook. Okay. This is about the rope. So it's probably the hook, right? It should be. Someone did let me know in the comments. I think it was the creator of the future chapters that the influence gauge. That was 2 weeks ago. I'm sorry, I don't remember your name. The influence gauge refreshes every time you enter a new non-stop debate, so I don't have to worry about trying to finish a thing before I see all the dialogue, which works out because I want to probably read it all anyway.
A way to hang the body from outside. Is that really possible?
What if the culprit used a tool for it? Hey, look, that's an agree point.
Maybe the culprit had a tall height?
You mean maybe the culprit was very tall? That'd be funny.
They must have climbed up the wall.
What?
It's a kind of stunt. Satsuki can do it too.
Hey, we're being serious here. And now we know Satsuki's the culprit, because only she could climb up the wall.
Don't struggle on your own. There's definitely something. Come to think of it, there was another object attached to the rope.
Yeah, there was. I say that it makes the damage sound, you know? Makes me feel like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. do 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 do. Consent. Nice. Agility, 100% perfect. Hey, nice.
That's it, Ayame. You could use a tool.
A tool? But how?
I almost forgot. The tool that was tied to the end of the rope. It's right here. Do you see it?
How do you take a picture of it?
Look.
Maybe the monopads, you can take pictures of stuff, and that's how we're logging our evidence. You know what? Why haven't they ever canonized that before? That would make so much sense. Anyway.
Looks like a hook to me.
A hook? The rope had something like that?
I'm starting to be impressed by the extent of your stupidity. But Useless made a good point this time. You're right. It looks like you've got it correct.
So, what about the hook? The culprit must have thrown this hook with the rope attached to it to connect to the pipe on the ceiling. That way, the rope was all set. Afterwards, they could tie the other end to Kyoka's neck and push her body inside. Wouldn't that be possible to do without actually entering the women's restroom?
Yes, it is. This is our answer.
This is our answer.
Yeah.
Hold on. Look how the rope is tied to the pipe. It's been twined several times around that pipe. Is it possible to do that with that heavy-looking hook on it?
Oui? You speaking French now?
Oui, he's right. It's fastened by the hook, but the rope went around it several times.
Several times.
I know. It's nearly impossible to tie a rope like that when there's a hook attached.
What the? You said it like it was possible like 3 seconds ago.
That's why the culprit used another tool to secure the rope onto the pipe. Another tool?
What is this other tool?
Seems like Makaru's the only one who realized what it is. Well, why don't you tell us, Makaru?
As if. Like hell I realized. I knew it from the very beginning. And if you're trying to sound me out, quit it. I already said I have no plans to offer any help. Sound her out. Okay, I did it. I sounded her out. Besides, looks like Useless over there got hold of it anyway. Why don't you ask him?
Me?
Yuki, can you tell us the answer?
Well, it's...
Oh, you didn't? Sorry for that. I guess that question was too hard for your non-functional brain.
Well, now I'm definitely gonna do it. I'll prove you wrong. I won't forgive myself if I don't give an answer after hearing that. In fact, I'm sure that I can. I found that object during the investigation, didn't I? A tool other than the hook that was used to secure the rope from the outside. That tool was...
It's the goop, but which version of the goop? Probably this? But it could also be this, right? But I think he said he found it at the scene, so it should be this, right? Okay. Well, you shouldn't have talked about the scene then. Alright. Burst over ball. What? He like just spoke one word in my ear.
Good. And one more thing. There's a key piece of evidence that can prove this tool's involvement in the crime. Oh yeah, that thing you said like 3 seconds ago. Too bad it was at the wrong time. I got it! I figured out the other tool the culprit used. It's the rubber ball.
Rubber ball? What's a rubber ball? What do you mean, what's a rubber ball?
It's like a bouncy ball. You ever played with them when you were young? It's full of some kind of viscous liquid that makes it bounce back when it hits the floor. Oh, I know. I made some improvements to it and sold it overseas under the name Hyperball. Did I tell you I'm good at selling stuff?
Now, how is that relevant to the case? You better tell us quick, Yuki.
Do they not have... They must. In Japan. Do they not have, like... those dodgeballs? Or, like, anything? I guess it's possible. I don't know. Never been there, so... I just assumed that was a pretty, universal type thing. Because they're so easy to make and cheap to buy, right? Why not buy them for kids?
I don't know. Okay, I figured out the way the rubber ball was used in the murder just now. After Tsurugi said the culprit used another tool to set the rope in place, I tried to relate the act of winding the rope with the circumstances of the murder. I think we can be certain about the culprit using a hook, since we found one on the pipe. But, as Mitch pointed out, it's impossible to wind the rope like that with the hook alone. Putting the hook after setting up the rope wasn't a choice either, because there's no way to get the rope around the pipe by itself. Besides, they'd have to step inside to attach the hook.
How does the ball fix that?
That's why the culprit used a rubber ball. Before using the hook, the culprit tied the rope around the rubber ball.
Around the rubber ball? Okay, that wouldn't work. Maybe they don't have them. Anyway.
Then they threw it inside the restroom, between the pipe and the ceiling, to be more exact.
Is the idea that it, like, bounced back? Okay, that would work, but there's no way you'd ever be able to tie a rope like that around a ball. I just don't think it. Anyway.
That way, the ball would hit the wall and bounce back toward where it started.
I actually kind of like that. That's pretty unique. But why did it make a freaking splat?
If you repeat this multiple times, you get the rope around the pipe with the ball returning to the entrance every time. All that's left would be to remove the ball and tie the hook to throw it on the pipe. But the culprit probably faced something that wasn't part of their plan here. The rubber ball burst because of the pressure from rebounding off the wall.
What good would it be if it couldn't rebound off a wall? That's like 80% of these balls' purpose. Okay, never mind.
It spilled its contents all over the wall and the floor, which is still left at the scene. This is how the culprit tied the rope without going inside the girls' restroom. The hook and the rubber ball were used to make it look like it was done from the outside. Or from the inside, rather. It was done from the outside.
Oh, so that must have been the stinky liquid on the wall.
Well said, Yuki. I agree with you.
Here's how I thought they did it. I thought it, like, this is kind of spoilers, but it's a soccer ball. I thought it would be a soccer ball. And they stuck the hook into it, so, like, the rope was keeping it from entirely deflating. And then as it bounced off the wall, it got more and more deflated until eventually it just, wouldn't work anymore. And then they threw the hook over it. I thought that's how it was done. But, that works too, I guess.
Well, if our ultimate police officer says so, I guess he's right. Everyone, did you notice something after getting to this point?
Notice what?
Think closely. We're talking about the possibility of a man being the culprit. But don't you think it should be the opposite after going through all this?
Opposite?
My explanation involving the hook and the ball was to prove it's possible for a guy to be the culprit. But if the opposite of that is true, that means...
The culprit is Monokuma. But the opposite would be that a culprit's a... That doesn't make any sense. So, okay. A better way of wording that would be, if the culprit used this method, then that means that the culprit is a man, is basically what they're saying, right? Because a woman would have no reason to do that, is what they're trying to get at. But that sentence was just confusingly worded.
What's the opposite of it's possible a man entered the restroom?
It's impossible that a woman entered the That's not true, you know?
That's right. We were going in the opposite direction this whole time.
Opposite direction? What are you talking about?
We thought that the culprit was a girl, so we thought of a way to hang Kyoka from the outside the restroom based on the assumption, what if a guy could be the culprit as well? Turns out that wasn't the case. It's very unlikely the culprit is among the girls. The killer is definitely a man.
What? It wasn't me.
Hey, how so? And why is it suddenly like that? Think about what we just went through. The culprit undoubtedly used the hook and the rubber ball to connect the rope to the ceiling. Now, suppose the culprit's a woman. Would there be a reason for her to use such complicated measures when she could have just walked up and tied the rope directly?
That makes sense. It looks like the culprit had to do it without going inside the restroom.
Furthermore, even if the culprit was a woman and had used the hook and rubber ball for some reason, they would have been able to clean the stain on the wall afterwards.
Right. As I mentioned before, the culprit probably didn't expect the rubber ball to burst. Because why would it? To clean the liquid off the wall, they needed to be able to get inside the restroom.
But they couldn't, because guys can't enter the girls' restroom.
I can't say it with absolute certainty, but it's the most reasonable explanation I can think of. There'd be no reason for the culprit to intentionally leave traces in the murder scene. I mean, the liquid stain on the wall was a big hint for figuring out how the ball was used by the culprit.
That automatically gives us girls an alibi, right? Plus, even better, Yuki, Tsuruya, Haruhiko, Mitsuhiro, Tsurugi, Kinji, and Kakeru. We know one of them's gotta be it.
Hold on! What if the culprit was a woman and is trying to make us think this way all along, and we were just too dumb to get it? Ray keeps saying that. It's Ray! I highly doubt it. The reason the culprit hanged Kyoka in the first place was to make us think that a woman did it.
Oh, so it had to do with disguising it as a suicide from the start, or it had nothing to do with that. Sorry, I misspoke.
Indeed, everything was to lead us to thinking that a woman was the culprit. Oh, it kept going. In other words, the culprit wanted us to think that way.
So they wouldn't become a suspect. All because the culprit himself was a man. Everything's connected now. Everything's connected.
I found it strange, too, to find the rope on Miss Maki's neck being too loose. In retrospect, I see that this was the case because the culprit didn't intend to make it look like a suicide at all.
Well, I said that earlier, but apparently you guys all forgot. So I need a drink after doing Kakeru's voice. I can't believe it took you this long to reach this point.
What's up with you talking like you already knew all this stuff?
Because I already knew.
What?
I already have everything worked out. Who the culprit is, why they killed, anything you could possibly think of. Oh yeah? Then why is the sky blue? She probably knows that. She's a teacher. I mean, I know that, so. Then what am I thinking of? Yeah, there we go. Bet you don't know that.
Yeah. What? You just stood there in silence when you had all the answers?
How many times do I have to repeat this? I have absolutely no reason to help you out. What about your life? Surely you at least value that.
Makaru, this isn't a competition. If you don't share what you know and we end up voting for the wrong person, you're literally going to die.
Of course I'll share my knowledge when it gets to that. But even without me, you still have Tsurugi Kinjo over there to help you. Yeah, but like at that point, especially if we thought you were the culprit, which was like what was going on early on, why did we believe you? It's just a very stupid strategy. And useless. You're actually getting pretty close to the truth too. I'm actually surprised. Perhaps you weren't completely useless after all, monkey.
Monkey?
Monkey is a funny word.
Gee, she's real smug. Well, she's always been like that. We should just ignore what she says and keep moving on.
Sure. I believe we left off from saying the culprit was a man.
I wonder who it is.
Wow, she must be really excited by the tables turning.
Although we know the killer's among the men, we still need to specify one person out of 7. Is there any clue to narrow down the list?
Well, if Miss Mikaru was able to work out the culprit's identity, there must be a clue pointing to the killer somewhere.
The problem is, we don't know what that clue is.
Tsurugi, a little help here? Like, something that could nail the killer. I do have something in mind, but you shouldn't rely on me for everything. All of you should figure the case out by yourself and understand the reason behind our final verdict.
You know what he should say at this point? He should be like,
You know, I'm a prime target. There's a chance I could get murdered, so I want you all to be able to figure things out the same ability that I can if Ray's not going to help you.
you know, something like that. It'd be perfect.
Kyoka.
What's that face for?
Yeah, I've got nothing.
Hey, y'all, any ideas about the culprit?
Well, nothing in particular, I suppose.
We're almost there. We know the culprit is one of the guys.
Just to remind y'all, it's not me.
That reaction's making you look even more suspicious.
Just like you from a while ago.
What'd you just say?
I'm sorry.
Wasn't that out of character, Kazuna?
Since most of you seem to be having trouble with this, let me suggest going around. How about we all think of something else first?
Such as?
Don't you want to know why Kyoka died? Why Kyoka had to die?
And it's literally perfect for this case for him to say that, because he was literally the target of this murder. Anyway.
Of course we do. Kyoka was always so full of spirit and a nice friend. She didn't deserve to die.
To begin with, 2 people were indirectly involved in Kyoka's death.
2 people? Are you implying there are 2 culprits?
No, I'm not saying those 2 took part in the murder, but they heavily influenced the events leading up to Kyoka's death. Point is, Kyoka died as a result of someone's mistake and the culprit's misjudgment that stemmed from it. Mistake and misjudgment? I need the help of a certain someone to explain this. Yuki, could you help me out?
Oh yeah, because I never told him it was Haruhiko for some reason.
Me? You remember the conversation we had in the hallway? The one over the nameplates.
Oh, you mean that one?
Yeah, you told me that you know who caused that change to the nameplates. I don't have knowledge regarding this matter, so I'd like for you to provide us with some context. Hello? I've got 0 ideas on what the 2 of you guys are talking about.
Okay. I'll explain it to everyone. Yesterday, when all of us were in shock after Monokuma showed us the motive, there was a minor incident that happened. The people who know about that incident are me, Haru, and Satsuki. Oh, and finally Kyoka.
Huh?
They don't look like they know it, though.
Haru, Satsuki, did you seriously forget what happened before nighttime yesterday? Haru, we literally just talked about it an hour ago. With the nameplates. Oh, that!
Oh, you mean the thing with Haru's triple spin?
Yeah. Would you mind explaining to us what happened back then? I think there's something you didn't know about it, and I'll tell you when we get there. Okay.
Alright, what do we got? Kanata's account, Haru's account, Tori's account. Well, it's obviously Haru's account. Alright.
You can stop spinning. Ah, I'm getting dizzy. I'm being hypnotized. I'm gonna go steal a picnic basket. I don't know why I slipped into Yogi Bear. Hey, boo-boo. Let's go terrorize the park goers. Hey, hey.
Last night, me and Sasuke and Kyoko were hanging out together to distract ourselves from the motive, and I accidentally fell down and broke the nameplates.
That was really funny to watch. Triple spin!
When I was freaking out over damaging school property, Monokuma showed up and he said, they won't punish me since it was an accident, and he left me with a new set of nameplates.
I told Haru to put the new nameplates back where they belonged. So Haru put them back at the right place and the rest of us went to bed.
Yeah, not even close. Did you forget he went to the bathroom? I mean, I don't know, I guess out of anything to forget, that would be one thing. No, Satsuki, there's something wrong with what you just said.
Oh, what's wrong? Yo, yo. It's like the sound effect before Kirby, whatever. What's that one called? Samurai Slice, something like that. Wherever we do those mini games, where it's like a reaction time mini game, they always do that. Anyway,
Although Haru did put the nameplates back, he didn't know that he made a mistake while doing so. Yuki, that's embarrassing. Haru, we're all gonna die.
I know, but come on.
He forgot where the two nameplates originally were, so he put the new ones in the wrong place.
What? He forgot something that was right in front of him a few seconds ago?
you forgot about this and same amount of time.
Oh, I think he went to the restroom before putting them back, so he might have got confused somewhere in the middle.
Okay, I get how much of an idiot Haruhiko is now. How is that related to Hyoka's murder?
That would be because the two nameplates Haruhiko had to replace belong to Tsurugi Kinjo and Kyoka Maki.
You could have just said me.
Right, Yuki? Yeah, that's right. Kyoka's room was next to mine, and Tsurugi's is next to hers. But because Haru thought the other way around, the nameplates on their doors were switched.
Mr. Kobashikawa, was it your intent to do so?
Anyway, Haru, shouldn't you already know? We talked about the nameplates being switched when we were investigating.
Well, I did, but I just wanted to avoid unnecessary suspicion.
Avoid suspicion? Don't tell me you're the culprit, Haruhiko.
No, I'm not. I swear. This is exactly why I didn't say anything.
Why would we think you're suspicious? It's just a couple of nameplates. I don't think they're that much related to Kyoka's death anyway. Yes, they are related. Much related, in fact.
Now would you care to explain what that means to us?
I said earlier that two people were connected to the murder. One of them is Haruhiko, for switching the nameplates, and the other person is... me. Huh?
Mr. Kinjo, you have an indirect connection with the murder of Mitsumaki? May I ask you to elaborate on that?
It's true. Let's see, where to start. How about we all get a grasp on the culprit's intentions first? If things went as the culprit originally planned, the person to have a portrait here would have been, well, me.
That statement sounds somewhat far-fetched. How come you were to die instead of Kyoka?
Do you remember the torn note Yuki read to us a while ago? I was able to comprehend that the culprit was aiming for me after seeing that note. Kyoka got that note from the culprit and headed to the laundry room at the designated time. There, she was assaulted and murdered by the culprit. Everyone's clear on this, right? Then let me ask, how do you think Kyoka got that note?
How? How she got that note? Well, I don't know, maybe one of us casually just handed it to her? Kyoko wouldn't have known that the person who gave the note would come back to kill her.
From whom? Where and how? Did any of you ever see Kyoka getting a note from someone?
No. Besides, there wasn't any time for that. After we got into the audio-visuals room, Kyoka stayed with me and Satsuki until she went into her room for the night.
Wait! Then Kyoka got the note between 10 p.m. last night and her time of death, which is 6 a.m. this morning.
Right. Kyoka went inside her room as soon as it became nighttime. She couldn't have gotten the note while talking face-to-face with someone. And that leaves us with only one possibility. She got the note while she was inside her room.
But you can't go into someone else's room unless you got the key or the owner's permission.
Yes,
That was the wrong voice. That was Akane.
Yes, but there's a way to give her the note without opening the door.
What? But that'd be like magic. Really? How?
What do you mean? How? Seriously? You've never seen a cartoon before? I don't know. I feel like that's a pretty common thing in tropey thing in shows, is to like pass a note under the door for like spy stuff, anything.
A way to slip the note inside the room without opening the door or being seen by the owner. Should be pretty simple. Something any clever kid could think of. Let's think about it.
Oh my god, we're not gonna do like a okay, Hangman's Gambit. That's even worse than I was gonna say. I thought it was gonna be like Dive Drive. Okay. Hangman's Gambit, you have to put together pieces of evidence that flash by your mind. The bottom of the screen will show parts of your target word, the phrase with spaces in between. Find letters which would go in the blank space and shoot them to place in their position. At least that's a little bit better than the original. At least you have like a start, you know. The letters will move around randomly across the screen. If there are multiple blank spaces, you must fill the leftmost space first. Your focus gauge will take damage if you fill the wrong letter. If your focus gauge is fully depleted, your influence gauge will take damage instead. Once you choose the correct letter for every blank space, the word will be completed, and so will the minigame. Okay, I guess the controls are just random discussion controls. I do like the song, though. Do 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 do. A? Gap. What? Why would it be that? Why wouldn't it be like slid or something? Can I hit the letters that are behind my body? Okay, well, I got one. Those are very weird hitboxes. Oh, I know why it's gap. Because it's way shorter in Korean. There were only 3 spaces. They had to make up something. That's fine, actually.
That's it, the gap! Even when the door is fully closed, there's a gap between the bottom of the door and the threshold that's large enough to slip a note through.
We're using technical door terms, huh?
so after nighttime, the culprit left the note inside Miss Maki's room through that gap?
Right. There would have been no one in the hallway after nighttime. Kyoka would likely still have been awake. Adding a message like, "Don't exit your room to keep Monokuma from noticing," would have easily dealt with the chance of Kyoka seeing the note coming in and opening the door on the culprit. That way, the sender won't have to reveal himself while still getting the message across. This inequality of information between the culprit and Kyoka made her more vulnerable to the deception.
You know, it was pretty bold of him to do that. What if Kyoka didn't show up or brought other people with her?
The note probably requested her to come alone to prevent such occurrences, likely coupled with a reason she won't be able to ignore. For the fact it mentioned the absence of cameras, it must have been something Monokuma shouldn't have known about. A way out, for instance. Would any of you refuse to go if someone offered to tell you a way to escape?
Well, I'd go, yes.
True, I would have gone as well.
Okay, so the culprit snuck the note into her room. I get that, but how exactly is it you and Haru's fault? Think closely. Most people here didn't know about Haruhiko switching the nameplates until it was said in the trial, or noticed after the murder had occurred. Which means, at the time of the murder, the culprit was unaware of this fact.
Oh.
I see. For that reason, you considered yourself and Haruhiko to be at fault.
For those of you who haven't got it yet, we're saying the culprit killed Kyoka because of a confusion.
Confusion? Wow, I know that sensation so vividly right now.
What? So it ties back to what Tsurugi said earlier.
Right, I think I get it now. The indirect influence Haru had over Kyoka's death. Haru switched the nameplates by mistake, and the culprit slipped the note inside the room without knowing they were switched. Then the culprit's intended target was me! Wait, no, that's wrong. That's right. The culprit never intended to murder Kyoka. The real person he wanted to kill was me. Tsurugi.
That makes total sense. The killer saw Tsurugi's nameplate on the door and left the note there, but the room was actually Kyoko's. Does that mean Tsurugi would have died if Haruhiko didn't switch the nameplates?
Yes. That's why I said Haruhiko and I indirectly caused Kyoka's death.
Now look, I don't want to be mean, but I feel like if Tsurugi got that note, he would have been a hell of a lot more cautious about it. Because that's just who Tsurugi is, right? So I feel like maybe nobody would have died if he actually got the note. Although I guess the culprit was going to ambush him anyway, but still, I don't know.
Kyoka, it's all because I was an idiot. It's all because I was dumb enough to mix up those stupid nameplates.
Calm down, Haruhiko. It's not your fault. Even if you put the nameplates correctly, Tsurugi would have been in danger.
I'm a policeman. It's my duty to ensure everyone's safety. Yet, I was careless enough to let Kyoka die. I should have died rather than failing in my duty like this.
Please don't say that. Every person's life must be treated with extreme regard.
That's why I can't forgive the culprit. Not that murderers ever deserve forgiveness, but him killing one of our close friends was absolutely unforgivable. Why didn't he kill Ray?
Yeah, I feel the same way. But how am I supposed to take that one of us is the cruel, cold-blooded killer?
So?
What do you mean by so?
Can't you think? Now's the time to say it. You know, the identity of the culprit.
The culprit?
Didn't you solve everything you needed to? The fact that the culprit's a man, the way he hanged the body without entering the restroom, how and why he called Kyoka Maki to kill her. Isn't the culprit fairly obvious at this point? I would say no, other than the ball. There's like nothing, really. Well, and also some suspicious behavior. Well, while we did figure out most of the major details, I don't believe we ever brought up that matter before. Jeez, you guys still don't know. How long are you going to make me wait here? My legs are starting to hurt.
How about you say it yourself if you know so much?
Why should I? There's people like Tsurugi Kinjo out there anyway. I'm just extremely lazy.
Tsurugi, do you know who the culprit is?
Yes, I do. Actually, I already knew who it was well before the trial started.
Woohoo! It's our ultimate police!
But what I thought back then was more like an educated guess. Now that I went through these discussions in the trial, I'm confident in what I've got.
Man, that's epic! How'd you know? I still don't have a clue!
Haruhiko, why'd you say epic?
Try to make it easy for everyone to understand. So, let's go back to when we were talking about the hook and the rubber ball. You all know the culprit used them, right?
Of course! The culprit tied a rope to the rubber ball and sent it around the pipe a few times, then threw the hook on secure the rope. All was to make it seem like it was done from the inside.
The rubber ball was the decisive factor in my deduction of the culprit. Do you remember Yuki explaining earlier the rubber ball burst because it couldn't overcome the pressure?
It's because you kicked it too hard? Are you serious? Okay.
It's probably due to the accumulated damage from repeated collisions with the wall. Here's the question. How much pressure do you think is needed to pop a rubber ball?
Well, it would depend on which kind you're talking about, but probably a lot.
Yup. I'll tell you something that pops too easily, it'll be a worthless bouncy ball. Right. Normal levels of pressure can't leave a single scratch on it, much less make it burst. But the rubber ball still burst, just by bouncing a few times off the wall.
That's kind of strange, yeah. Was the rubber ball old?
When I saw the rubber ball, it was still glossy and shining all over, despite its condition. I dare say it was brand new.
When did he see it? What? Okay, never mind. Maybe he means in the trash heap. I thought it was like broken for sure, but whatever.
I'm not done yet. I think I didn't place emphasis enough on this earlier, but think about it. Would it be easy to make a ball go over the pipe through that little space between it and the ceiling, bounce it off the wall, and roll it back toward the entrance? Especially when the culprit couldn't afford to fail even once because he was a man.
Why not? He could drag the ball back. I mean, once he got the first one on there, it would be much harder, yes, but...
I believe it would certainly be a challenge. I didn't possess the skills for it in the first place, but even if I did, I wouldn't be able to do it because of the pressure.
Fully agreed. But the culprit chose to take that challenge and succeeded nonetheless. This wasn't just a matter of guts. He had the confidence and ability to assure his success.
In short, the culprit has the ability to throw a ball exactly where he wants to.
It's more than accuracy. Not only did the culprit have precise control over where to land the ball, but also the strength to burst it open.
But I don't think anyone out of the guys look like they have much strength or accuracy.
What does that mean?
Judging by his muscles, maybe Kakeru does.
With my daily muscle training, it would be certainly possible for me to burst a rubber ball with this strength. However, just to be clear, it cannot be the culprit. I can't even score a goal right below the basket.
Then how did the killer pull off those tricks? Was he secretly the ultimate baseball player?
No, I think you guys are missing something. I said the culprit made the ball go over the pipe, not that he threw it.
Huh? But how could you make the ball go over the pipe without throwing it?
Wait, I think there is a way.
How do you do that? Superpowers?
No. You can kick it with your foot.
Oh, right. Rubber balls are small enough to hold with one hand, so I was naturally thinking that the culprit threw it.
Huh? Hold on a sec. Kicking it with your foot? I knew I had the answer when I reached that point. It seems like you got there too, Ayame. If what I'm thinking is right, then the culprit is... But why? Why did he... I'm still not getting it. Who was it? Can someone just tell me the answer? Yuki, you know who it is, right? Why can't you make Akane tell them? Or Ayame, sorry, wrong one. Huh? Looking at your facial expression, I have the feeling that you finally reached the truth. You helped me out a lot with the hook and the nameplate, so how about you say it for us? The mastermind behind all of this. Kyoka's murderer. Oh, good. I thought you were talking about the whole game for a second. I was sweating on that one, but I know Kyoka's murderer, yeah.
Yuki.
Tsurugi's right. I know the culprit. I really did figure it out. There's only one person who could have done everything we've talked about up till now. I want to convince myself that I'm wrong, but this is something I have to do. I must do this.
Oh, I like this. Wow, look. They're like higher quality versions of the sprites without the outlines. Kyokomaki did it. Except his. His is still kind of low quality. Like, it's like a sharp difference from some of these. I don't know. You can see like the lines between the shading. Nice. Little peeking there. Excellent.
The person that came up with this plan and murdered Kyoka. Mitch. It was you, right? What?
Okay, well, I gotta suspend anyway. That means we're halfway over. That can't be right, can it? There's no way we're only halfway done the first trial. What do you mean? It's already been 2 hours. I mean, this episode's only 45 minutes, but it was an hour beforehand. Okay, whatever. We'll see what happens in the next episode. Maybe it's just because there's a bunch of cutscenes at the end and the explanation and all that. But yeah, I'm going to save and quit here because if I don't save now, I'm doomed, right? So, thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy, leave a like, subscribe, you know, all that jazz. And if you made it to the end, leave a comment saying rubber balls... I was going to say rubber balls don't burst. Say something like that. Yeah. We'll do that. Yes, he has to have crazy kicking power. Jeez. Because, like, I'm sure, like, top soccer players could probably destroy a soccer ball with a kick, but, like, they're designed to withstand that sort of pressure, you know? He must have been, like, really freaking tense. He was like, oh man, whoops, sorry, I didn't mean to, oh god. Because if he kicked it so hard, it would go too high, or, like, it wouldn't bounce properly, you know? Whatever. I'm not going to nitpick it. It's a cool method, right? So yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that. Rubber balls don't burst. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys again on someday. We'll see. I might be putting up another Heathers video on Wednesday, so I won't say Wednesday, but soon. Okay, bye.